packing tiny big boxes.
La seconde, vas-y. Adrien? Welcome back, you're listening to Tunisian International Radio. Very nice song by Selim Haf Waqf al Billar. Mabrouka M'barek, a member of the Constituent Assembly. Welcome to RTCI.
Thank you, thanks for having me in the show.
I think, thank you for accepting the invitation. I think I have already introduced Mabrouka, but what can you say about Mabrouka M'barek?
United States, but I represent Tunisians. I mean, I represent all Tunisians. Particularly, I was elected in the circumscription of the Americas, so the continent of America, and the rest of Europe, which is all Europe. Besides France, Germany, and Italy.
Do you get more dollars for that?
No, not at all. And it's part of my work, as you may know, but I want to explain a little bit more what I do. So I worked at the Constituent Assembly. We're working on writing the Constitution and passing laws. And I sit in the commission, first commission, which is responsible for writing the preamble, the fundamental principles and amendments of the Constitution. So my commission is in charge of the very beginning of the Constitution and the very end. I sit also in the commission that is in charge of lifting or keeping the immunity for deputies and anything that is related to changing the internal rules of the Constitution. Besides that, I do work to represent my constituency, so there are a lot of demands from them, and I try to help them. It could be any sorts of demands. And I do work with the presidency in anything related to open government, transparency, how to improve the
We will come back to the Open Gov, to the presidency, and to the activities of the Assembly. Barakallah, as we say in Arabic. I say almost Barakallah every day. I say it every day. Fanny.
Yes.
That's Fanny. That's how you pronounce your name?
Fanny in Swedish.
Fanny. Okay, in Swedish. So, it's Fanny.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So, you're a Swedish journalist?
I'm a Swedish journalist, currently working here in Tunisia. I arrived almost 2 months ago now. And I am freelancing journalist, mainly for Swedish radio, but also for some magazines and newspapers.
So now you're Tunisian, after 2 months?
Well,
half Tunisian. Shwaya. Okay. On my left we have Wiem Chettaoui, and welcome to RTCI.
Thank you, Adnen, for inviting me here.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
You're absolutely welcome, it's a pleasure. So, to introduce myself,
go ahead, please.
I'm teaching English. That's the main thing I'm doing with my time currently at the Institute of Human Sciences in Tunis, Musharraf. A thing that I enjoy very much. I'm also doing a master's in international relations at the same institute. Aside from this, I can proudly say that some of my colleagues and I have set to creating an association for international relations, the International Relations Association Tunis, which, well, we'll talk more about it later.
Yeah, sure. Later and tomorrow, because you will come back tomorrow as well.
Right. Great.
So, Mabrouka, what's going on at the Constituent Assembly?
A lot of things. So we just passed complementary financial law, and that was a lot of work. We also finished with the brainstorming for the preamble, and we came out with a first project. I publish everything on my website, so Tunisian citizens can look at the progress of the commission and give me their input.
That's in English or in Arabic?
It's actually in English, and I'm still waiting for someone to help me with translating.
You know why I asked
Arabic.
this question? Because you've been playing for speaking in Arabic at the Cottage Palace just maybe about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, for speaking in Arabic. Where's the problem with Arabic?
So I didn't receive a lot just criticism. I also received an enormous amount of support.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, let's just put everything.
Let's talk about the criticism.
In context.
Yeah, please.
Like
Go ahead.
I was I'm Tunisian. I was born in France, and I live in the United States. My parents are illiterate, never went to school, and so I never had opportunity to write or read Arabic growing up. So I had to learn by myself. I remember going to Tunisia during the summer, and I had a little girl. She was a shepherd, and she was like teaching me how to read in Arabic.
Wow.
Right. We lived in the rural areas in France. There were no schools, so it has been difficult for me, and I had to learn by myself, which I did. So, obviously my Arabic is not like the level is not that great, but I can understand and everything, and I certainly speak good derja, as we say, dialect. I think what happened in Carthage is I don't want to excuse myself. There's probably a mistake that I did, and I probably didn't prepare enough. But 40 minutes before we were about to go and present about the Open Government Initiative that I was part of. The spokesperson told me that the text that I prepared was too detailed, that he wanted me to speak more general.
You prepared the text in French?
No, in Arabic. No, I
Mhm.
prepared, but he said you went too much in details. People don't need to know all that details. Just be very, very, very general. So I ended up like literally half an hour, 20 minutes before, just trying to rewrite completely from scratch. And I don't like reading. Every time I go for a talk, a conference, I never read. I always talk. I have just bullet points. And he insisted on me reading. And so there was like a big confusion, like, should I read? Should I just talk in dialect? No, I don't want to just read it. I felt it was not very, just reading a text in Fusha, I didn't feel like I was going to communicate really the essential. But what came out of it was, something I was extremely proud about it. However, that's backstage. A lot of things happens, and everyone learn about it. But I ended up kind of being a little confused, and I think what I come up with this experience is, yes, I will prepare more, and in the end, I should have just read it, the first text that I had, and
in Arabic or in French?
In Arabic, the first that I prepared in Arabic with the detail. I felt comfortable with this, and I shouldn't have changed my plan last minute.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I had a lot of people appreciating the effort that I was putting, and a lot of people recognized that in the end, at the end of the day, what really matters? Is it my Arabic?
That's the message. The message is the most important thing.
Is it all the stuff that I'm doing for Tunisia? I think, the facts are more important than the...
And actually you were at the College Palace to talk about your trip to Brazil.
Yes.
Partly.
So, it was all about, because I came back from a mission to Brazil. But just to close
go ahead, please.
To close the story of the language, I actually do have a lot of people who are incredibly supportive, and even inside the assembly, like yesterday I was talking, and I have two colleagues from two different parties, but they always kind of look at me and put thumbs up. It's like, yeah, you did good today. So it was really encouraging. It was great. And
learning Arabic at the assembly.
No, but they're a lot of people recognize and the effort, and I also have a lot of people who are saying, it's great that you lived abroad, you were born abroad, and you're coming back for your country. They appreciate that. And they really emphasize on, we want every Tunisian to be part of the making of Tunisia. It shouldn't be exclusive. It shouldn't, you shouldn't put aside some people just because of their language capacity. Otherwise, you could have very bad consequences. Anyway, I close the parentheses about that.
What about Brazil?
About Brazil, so right after we started the Constituent Assembly, I actually knew about an initiative that's called the Open Government Initiative. What it is it was created in the margin of the United Nation big meeting, and President Obama and President Rousseff from Brazil were talking about the need for more transparency, and they thought, what about just creating a sort of network where all the countries will share their best practices and knowledge, so that we all share our experience. And if you fail in your experience, you can share and say, be careful, I did this, and it didn't work. Or look, I created an amazing little application, and it promotes participative democracy. And here, I'll give it to you because you can use it. So it's really wonderful, and I thought, Tunisia really should be a member of this network to learn, but also to export its knowledge. When I started working with the Open Gov team, Open Gov TN, it's a group of citizen activists that promotes and defends transparency. I thought it was really amazing that we were making our own transparency. It was à la Tunisienne, as we say. It was fantastic. We had, ministries that will open the door to a group, and, a group of citizens come and say what they want to listen to. I mean, this has never been done in the whole world. You have deputies in the assembly, brandishing a placard that says "Hell Open" in Arabic when they're not happy about the laws.
Mr. Jaffer has joined.
Yes.
He's recently joined the team of Open Gov generation, I'd say.
And it's fantastic. And this is a pure Tunisian product. You've never seen that anywhere in the world. In the United States, you don't have President Obama.
It's very kind of copy and paste?
In the King copy and paste, and this is all about this. Is that we have an expertise in Tunisia, and we have a way to do it that is a very organic way. We're doing it. It's a transparency. It's programs that really match what we really want, our needs, and the way we work here in Tunisia. And we're not just copy and pasting programs coming from abroad. And so I felt like it would be great to be part of this network to learn, but also to export our knowledge, because something that came out from the revolution is Tunisians are really capable of transferring their values to other part of the world. And so I wrote a letter to the OGP back in December, I think. And it was very curious, like 5 days after sending my letter.
You have a problem with step number 7.
Oh, yes. It was actually 4 days after I wrote my letter to the OGP.
I think it's better.
The American embassy in Tunis called me on my phone, and I didn't understand why they were calling me, because I actually wrote a letter to the OGP. But then I did understand that my request channeled through the American embassy, because this initiative, the leadership, is shared by Brasilia and the United States. And so I had a meeting with the American embassy, and I was explaining that we really wanted to do transparency. At the time, there was a person from the presidency that was also interested in having more transparency in the palace that came on board with me. And so we just said what we wanted to do. The problem is the deadline passed and we couldn't be members. So we really pushed to not be members then, but at least being a guest so we can go and deliver a speech. It was really important for me because I felt it was the right moment for Tunisia to just send a message to the whole international community and say Tunisia is engaged in open government and transparency.
You'll give us more details about the Open Gov Project in Tunisia just after the short music break. We will also talk about the Congress for the Republic, about the cottage debate, or debates, which is a very interesting initiative, and the future of the Congress for the Republic. A short break with music with Shadé, Why Can't We Live Together? Enjoy. Adnen, right there. Why can't we be together? Welcome back. Why can't we live together? I hope that we will be able to coexist, to live together in the new Tunisia after the revolution. Mabrouka, so what's going on at the Constituent Assembly? We're already talking about the preamble, and you said that you were not really happy with the first project of the Constitution.
Yeah, so the commission spent a long time doing brainstorming, and then we started writing the preamble. We came out with the first project. A lot of people are asking me, what's your feeling? In fact, when I read it, I actually just don't feel emotion. It's a pretty dry text. I remember when we were discussing the first page.
Dry text?
Yeah, pretty dry.
Do you think it's hard?
No.
Boring.
So the first page, I remember, I have a lot of colleagues, they wanted to emphasize, the Islamic Arab identity, which I agree, but then they were trying to put it in every sentence, and I was like, wait, the first page of this project, if you remove, in the first line it says, we, representative of the Tunisian people. If you remove Tunisian, this whole first page could have been perfectly the preamble of Egypt or Yemen. So there's nothing that really makes us really feel that it's Tunisia.
So what is your project?
And so, in fact, the commission came out with the first draft, and I felt that when you read the preamble, you should be able to be back in the revolution. You should be able to, between the lines, feel the spirit of the Constitution. Remember, when we start talking the preamble, a lot of people said the preamble is the spirit of the Constitution. And in this one, I didn't feel any spirit. It was pretty cold. So in order to write the preamble, I felt I really needed to put myself back in context. And when I read the preamble, I should be the high emotion that everyone felt on January 14th. And on January 14th, I was in the United States, and I was following really closely what was happening. I was on the phone, all day. And as I was driving, I put the radio on, and the radio said, "Oh, he's gone. He left." And I just caught myself crying and laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I felt pride. I was proud to be Tunisian. Really proud. I was screaming, "I'm proud! I'm proud!" And when I read a preamble, I want to feel that.
How are you going to feel that?
And well, I thought that when you read the preamble, you should almost hear the sounds of revolution. And if you remember what we were listening, they were all slogans and famous dégage. And a lot of people wrote about dégage, the fact that it was a French word, the fact that we didn't use the Arabic word irhad, and it was more dégage. And I started, re-listening to it. And there is something that caught my attention many times. It's the very unnatural way to say dégage. In French, when you say dégage and you want to chant it, you have an emphasis on the dé. So normally you said dégage, dégage. But you remember in the revolution, we didn't say it that way. We said dégage, dégage.
Our own way.
Our own way. And one morning, I started beating the rhythm. Dégage, dégage, dégage. And I just realized, oh my God, it's like a heartbeat.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God. I was beating the rhythm.
I think you're also a musician.
Oh my God. And I just realized that was the spirit of our Constitution. That was the heartbeat of our nation. People, in fact, when they said dégage, they were beating the heart of the nation, and they were sending a big message. They were saying, I, as an individual, here's my chest, and you can put a bullet in it. It doesn't matter, because the nation will survive. It was a famous line. Yeah. There was a conscious message, and the message was get out, but there was an unconscious message. That was, people are resurrected, and they're beating the heart of the nation. It doesn't matter today, I will sacrifice because our nation will survive. And that is the heart, that is the spirit of our Constitution. And normally in the preamble, you should feel that beat. That is the reason why I thought that the best way to capture this rhythm is by poetry, a poem.
Yeah. And what do you think about it?
I think
about the term dégage, about this music she's talking about.
About the music she's talking about. I think that that's absolutely wonderful. Everything you just said. I'm speechless. You warned us that whenever you talked about your project, people would either cry or would get emotional.
Every time when I say that, people show emotion. But let me just finish.
Yes, please, go ahead.
We have a long culture in the Arab world, Arab Muslim world, of poetry. It's our tradition. The best way to show our identity, our culture, how proud we are, is to write a poem. Another question is like, do you know the preamble of the Constitution, the previous one? No. If it's a poem, everyone will know, and from generation to generation, everyone will repeat it. Other thing, when we start to talk about the preamble in my commission, I remember my colleagues were saying, well, the French saying the preamble should be this, the American organization said it should be that, it should be... I'm like, wait a second, we are a sovereign people. We do whatever we want. If we want to confirm our sovereignty, the best way is to say, you know, we're not going to follow any rules.
Mabrouka, we the people, we do what we want, but I don't do what I want. We're going to pass an ad and we'll be back just after the ad.
Okay.
فويس محلول عملت هذيك دونك سكرتها ارجع انت
وين كيف تحاول تخطك تونيزينا بالكارتر خطفت
مبروك يظهر لي تتصاير مع الشد
نرجع لك انت. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
Okay. Can I just...
مع تونيزيانا انجي الأولى.
Welcome back. So we were talking about the term dégage and the importance of this term during the revolution and even today for the preamble and to the constitution as well. Fanny, as a Swedish journalist, what do you think about the term dégage?
The term dégage.
How do you say dégage in your own language?
I was actually thinking about this morning when I was looking at the word, and I think the correct translation would be stick. Or dra härifrån.
No, I prefer stick.
Or maybe,
I don't like the second one.
Simply dra. That works too. But to be honest, it's hard for me as a Swedish journalist. I was actually not even here during the revolution. I came afterwards. It's hard for me to pronounce anything about the word dégage. I know that it has a profound meaning for Tunisian people after the revolution, and I don't know. To be honest, it's hard for me to say anything particular about it.
But what did you feel about this term when you first heard the term dégage and knew that the Tunisian people used this term for the first time in history? Do you think that using a French word is important?
The fact that it was French, I don't know if it's truly important. I think when Mabrouka describes her project here, I definitely think there is a rhythm to it. And I think it's interesting, the fact that it is in French. And to be honest, I haven't even myself actually thought about it a lot, that it is in French, but it's definitely being repeated all over in revolutions. So
yeah,
maybe
they're using the same term even in other parts of the world, even where they don't speak in French. What about you, Wiem?
Well, I know one thing. I know that historically Tunisians have always been, our country has always been embracing all sorts of civilizations and cultures. I think that most people today who criticize or who say that, oh, the word used was a French word, are attacking or are criticizing the idea that, you know, because they have a whole background of the whole colonization issue. But I think that, I mean, that's not something we should deny in a sense.
It's part of our identity.
It's part of our identity. We have embraced so much. We have Berber words in our Arabic language. We have French words in our day-to-day language. My grandmother says a lot of French words unconsciously. And so the fact that we take things, and like Mabrouka said, we do them our own way. We have a tendency to have our own Tunisian, way of doing things. And so we take dégage, we give it our own rhythm. We give it the rhythm of the heart of the nation, as you said, or the heartbeat of the nation. And I think that's just beautiful and it's impressive.
So French language and dégage are part of our identity, and the Congress for the Republic is part of the identity of Mabrouka. Tell us about your story with the Congress for the Republic.
Well, I joined the party after the revolution. I went to Montreal and I met a lot of people. I actually met Mustafa Ben Jaffel after the revolution in Montreal. There was a big debate organized by an association there in Montreal, and I met people from PDP, from Ennahda, from CPR, and I was really in phase with everything, the Congress for the Republic, the values, and so I started working there in the United States. So I started working in the commission that was in charge of the media and communication, and I always had a high respect to Mabrouka, our current president. All the things that he wrote, and I was really impressed by his whole experience during the regime, and he was an outspoken activist even when he was in exile. So I've always admired him. I was really proud of being a member of the party.
But you could have chosen another party.
It's just I liked CPR is a party where everything is done grassroots. It's like you don't need to have money. Everything was grassroots. You have skilled. You were on the bench. You want to work. You want to be active. Just come on board. That was the spirit. That
Is
I
it
really
still
liked.
the same spirit?
It is, I think. And
You think? Are you convinced?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure. People, if you're referring to the last events in my party, Tunisians politics in Tunisia is very immature. It's just starting to be more and more clear. I'll give you an example. Right after the revolution, all the parties claimed they were centrist. Even CPR said they were centrist. When you say you're centrist, it's because you don't really know who you are. And the more people are leaving your country, the more your political line gets clear. You ask yourself the question, why am I staying? Why I left? And you try to find the values with what you are attached. So, it's unfortunate when it happens, but it's something that we have to accept that it's natural.
You know that Michael Bolton said I loved you, but I lied. Do you think members of the Congress for the Republic have lied a few months ago when they said that they had just one project?
You mean?
You will answer after the short break with Michael Bolton. Said I loved you, but I lied. Enjoy. No, the goal is to introduce Michael Bolton.
Yeah, no.
That's how I do it.
Yeah. It's
Because I was thinking, I was like, did he plan the whole bridge to Michael Bolton from the start of this program?
First you say Michael Bolton's like
School,
economist. Who's Michael Bolton's like an economist, a writer. Oh my God, who's this person I don't know?
يا فيصل لازم نقول كلمة وهو يتكلم وهو يغني ولا لا؟ تخيل مش كل كلمة نرجع. When I said Michael Bolton, Mabrouka thought that I was talking about a new member of the Constituent Assembly, but we are talking about the singer, so enjoy.
Economist.
So enjoy. زايد معك يا فيصل وحدك في سبين بارك الله. Welcome back. Said I loved you, but I lied by Michael Bolton. He has lied, but Mabrouka M'barek is not going to lie. He's going to say the truth about the Congress for the Republic. So, Mabrouka, what's going on inside the Congress for the Republic? People have talked about division within the party, and they have said that it's a negative, that it's very negative for the political life in Tunisia and for the party as well. What do you think about it?
I don't think it's negative. It's very positive, in fact, and it's not.
It's positive.
Yeah, it's not division. It's just people are not feeling that they are. That the values are still the same that the party. They feel like they are getting away from the party line, and they feel they want to leave and do something else and do another party. This is a natural process in politics. It doesn't happen in a country like the United States because it's a very old democracy. But in France, it happened recently with the Wiem, for example.
Yeah.
François Bayrou, he did his own party. He just felt he wasn't really, and that's something normal. We shouldn't struggle against it. The thing is, Tunisians are probably nowadays thinking, oh my God, this is happening too much, too quickly, but yeah, it's happening in all parties. Why? Because it's still very immature here. Again, as I said just before the break, when you ask people, okay, where is your party? They're like, I don't know what does it mean, right, left. So I'm centered. And even CPR, we had trouble to put ourselves. And I was saying you can't right now you can't put parties, because we can only know where we are when we know ourselves, and you can only know a party with the time, with decision making. Because we're just building everything, you know. So it's a very normal thing. The only thing that I condemn is a lack of respect, and the lies and stuff. You know, every time where there's a separation, it's like a divorce, there's a little bit of drama. I hope there was less drama than that. But you know, many times my colleague asked me to take position, and I told Abdurrauf Ayedi, who I respect. I told, look, I said, I feel like I'm a child. My parents are divorcing. I still have to go to school. I still have to work. I mean, there's a constitution, there's a law. I mean, I can't just stay at home and cry and hold my mom and my dad and say, please stay together. No, this is normal.
Work. I have to work.
No, I have to work. Just deal in all the respect, please. What was very important for me, I think I'd never felt far from the values of the CPR. And what was really important for me is we have internal rules and we have to respect. And most importantly, we have to respect democratic rules. So if the political bureaus in the majority decides something, we have to accept it, even though you disagree. Those were really important for me, and that's why I stayed with the CPR and I didn't leave with the other group.
Do you think those who have followed the other group made the right or the wrong decision?
They made the right decision for them. Look,
but what about the party?
If someone doesn't feel happy in a party, he should not, torture himself. It's not the good word. He should not make his life difficult and stay in the party. Just go with another party or go and found your own party. You have to serve better your country, and you have to put your values together. If you don't feel, if you feel you are going away from the political line, then leave. It's okay. Let's not struggle against it. It's fine.
Move.
Really,
do something
fine.
else. And what about you? Do you think what happened to the Congress for the Republic is positive, is healthy?
I think it's certainly necessary. I think whether it's positive or not, we can only tell with time. But I think it's necessary, as Mabrouka said, it's something that happens. It's part of the process of growing up, politically or otherwise. You asked her if this was good for the party or not. I'm sure it's good, because if you have this constant friction within the party and people pulling in different directions, moving on and progressing would probably be very, very difficult for the party and for these individuals and their own personal satisfaction. I see it reflected in different parts of Tunisian society nowadays. This whole process of finding out who you are, whether you're fitting in where you placed yourself initially or not. In the association I founded with my friends here and my colleagues and certain people from outside the international relations section in Musharraf, we have the same issue. I mean, on things as simple and basic as, for example, funding for a project, you'd find us split, divided. Some would prefer, I don't know, the easy way out. Some associations and institutions in the US or otherwise are very ready to fund. Others of us, are very selective about this. And I think this is okay, because it helps us find out who we are, our identity, where we might get our funding from and where we might not get our funding from is very important. And the important thing that Mabrouka mentioned is the respect. So that's what we're trying to work on. Immature as we are, young as we are, politically, lost in a sense as we are, we're trying really to find our way through these things and to try to build things which are long-lasting, which are sustainable. And not, some volatile, angry little thing that might, disappear soon. So I think it's a healthy process.
Fanny, tell us about the Swedish experience.
Well, lately we haven't really had any breakouts from parties, but the party that has been the dominant party for basically the whole 20th century, not entirely, but basically the Social Democrats, they have had quite a struggle the last year, I would say, and especially with the leadership. And when Mabrouka speaks about how CPR is sort of true apart, that there's a group now that they have left people with other kinds of visions, I can sort of recognize that from Sweden as well, that there have been problems within the party, and it hasn't gone that far as to the party has been split up. And I don't think, to be honest, that no one has really. I sense some kind of fear of even mentioning that among journalists in Sweden, because it would but I mean, it would seem so unlikely for a lot of people that they would split up because of their long tradition. It's basically been a party since like the beginning, the very beginning of the 20th century. But of course, like there still have been some speculations. What if they actually would split up? Because that's what would
that's life.
It eventually
that's
happen,
life.
and it can happen in political life. Sweden would have yet another party, but they managed a few months ago to elect a new leader, and ever since it seems like they have slowly managing to consolidate the party again.
And the Congress for the Republic has also managed to elect or to choose or to elect a new leader. Which term do you prefer, choose or elect?
No, we did elect. We had a national Congress, Assembly, National Assembly, in Chettaoui, and we did elections, and it just so happened that it was.
What did you choose Chettaoui?
Why? There are many reasons, but it was also kind of symbolic, going there and
to the regions.
We haven't forgotten you, because it has been so far away that, people there felt like we'd forgotten them. It was really important. Like, let's just do the effort and go all the way down there south. It was really to send a message to also the people who are with CPR and saying, we haven't forgotten you. We'll do lots of miles to prove you that we're really engaged we want to engage everyone, and if it has to be Chettaoui, we will do it. And that was fantastic. Everyone came, and so the election was tight, and in the day we decided to leave the spot to Hamdaku, so decided all room. When we received the result, everyone was hilarious. We were all happy because everyone was kind of like hesitating because they're so complimentary. I mean, in myself, it was really complimentary. We were like, even to the last second, we were hesitating, and then the result was like, oh my God, it's such a result that really shows what CPR is. We really wanted both, and we had both. And everyone chanted Matamar, Matamar.
Does this mean you're optimistic about the future of the Congress for the Republic?
Yes. As I said, this process made us much. It's better. Even the environment with our former colleagues, the relationship is better. This break was necessary, and I feel even the ambiance in the assembly is much better. It was necessary, and we can really focus on really the work, because this was taking us lots of energy. I'm really happy that this is happening, and we really can focus and concentrate.
And the problem is that it's happening to all the political parties.
Yes, and that's another process.
Yeah,
I personally
go ahead,
think this is a positive thing. I mean, let's not forget that a very, very large number of Tunisians did not vote for any political party. I mean, the votes, they weren't representing every single Tunisian. And so if we have more, and if even these divisions within political parties, should this other group, form their own political party, this provides more options for Tunisians, and perhaps these will represent the true values of another section of Tunisian. I think not that we should have an immense number of political parties, but perhaps these divisions really show certain divisions within the Tunisian society, and people will find themselves more easily, or will find their views reflected.
Exactly, it's finding the political alliance becomes more clear, but experience abroad is showing that actually with the time the number of parties shrink and there's mergers. But that's not the number that is important, it's your values.
The quality.
What you really want for your, and what are the values, what is the political alliance? Are we more liberal economically? Are we more conservative? All these questions, after the revolution, no one really knew really exactly. We had some ideas, but it wasn't clear. And as we're moving along with the Tunisian experience,
So, Fanny, as a foreign journalist, what do you think about the Tunisian experience?
In what sense you mean think about?
Do you think it's positive? Do you think it's on the right track?
For Tunisia?
Yeah.
I definitely think it's on the right track. I mean, you're already getting started writing a constitution, which is a great thing. but obviously, as being
And it's
here
very
and
hard
working
to
here,
write the constitution.
yeah, and I can
Yeah,
tell.
still at the beginning.
Spending my days at Bardo mostly, talking a lot to deputies in the assembly, hearing about their experiences and their suggestions and their visions, I can tell that there are also big challenges. It's definitely on the track, but it's not gained yet.
Mm-hmm.
I actually can respond to that because I've lived abroad. When I lived in the United States and I said I'm from Tunisia, people
I thought it's Malaysia.
No, they're saying
Indonesia.
Indonesia. I'm like, no, not Indonesia. Where is it? I'm like, it's in Africa. They're like, Ethiopia. I'm like, oh God. So I will give up, And, now, I mean, before January 14th, no one could place Tunisia on the map. I mean, now everyone knows, and even everyone knows where Sidi Bouzid is. When I was in Brasilia, I was really amazed. In Brasilia, during the OGP meeting, the Open Government Partnership, we have people who, they put Tunisia as an example. The Prime Minister of Libya did say on the stage that they were expecting Tunisia to guide them along the democratic process. I mean, that was a very touching thing to say. And he said he felt that it was really important. Tunisia led the way. And when the meeting was wrapped up, one of the person who is the advisor of President Obama said, she stopped her talk and she said, the Tunisian example is quite incredible. At that time, I was with my colleague from the group Open Gov, and we brandished our little placard that said Hill, and then everyone turned to us and everyone applauded, and it was a great recognition that Tunisia gained an enormous status. And as the revolution left its borders and illuminated the world, we have a role to play.
You are right, we have a role to play, and no, we won't have a short break with music. Faisal, don't worry about this. I'll just ask, are you optimistic about the future of Tunisia?
You know what, Adnen, for some time there, for a moment, I wasn't. At the beginning I was, like everyone else, 14th of January, 17th of December, and onwards. I mean, we were really hoping for the best, we were really struggling, but at the same time hoping, full of hope and ambition. And at some point I wasn't. And I am so glad that I've passed that period, because it was one of the worst periods of my life. I mean, for a month there I thought this is going to be the end. I mean, for some reason, maybe it was just bad, I don't know, bad metabolism or lack of vitamins, but now I'm fine, because I can see that I can start with myself. I mean, from deep within I have this ambition, this will to see Tunisia becoming a better place, and I see it reflected in my friends at university, and people like you, Adnen, and people like Mabrouka. It's simply
don't forget Fanny, she's a guest.
And no, I'm not forgetting Fanny, because seeing other people from, for example, from Sweden looking at you and saying that something incredible. There's so much energy in this country. There's so much hope.
Yeah, and actually Fanny is working on a book. You will come back to tell us about your book. Maybe you'll finish in 2-3 months.
No, definitely. It's a long-term project, so I'll probably finish in about maybe a year. When my deadline is about a bit more than a year. So it's a long term. But I will be happy to come back when I've proceeded a bit more.
You're welcome to you can come back to the French language program, the English language program. Okay, anytime.
Sounds excellent.
Mabrouka, the final message to your to the listeners.
Yeah, so participative democracy is really important for me, and we've been talking the talk a lot and not walking the walk. And as I was explaining in the beginning of this show, I felt like the preamble was lacking emotion and rhythm, and I wanted to recapture the high emotion of January 14th and the rhythm, the chants. So I'd like to kind of ask all the artists around, all the poets, all the singers, to write something, to draft a little poem or something. It should be a prose that has no rules, so it doesn't have to rhyme. But it needs to capture the rhythm of the heartbeat of the nation. Pa-pum, pa-pum, dégage, dégage, pa-pum, pa-pum. And if they can send it to me, and I'll be happy to present it to my commission, that would be great.
Could you just mention your
yeah, I have a blog, mabrouka.org, mabrouka.org.
I will also share the link to your blog and to your website on my Facebook page, RTCI, the English Language Program, and my personal Facebook page, Adnen Chaouachi, and we are working on a Facebook page for Radio Tunisian International. Mabrouka, thank you very much. Fanny, thank you, and you will come back. Wiem as well, you'll be here tomorrow. We will talk about the situation of freedom of speech, we'll talk about freedom of speech, about journalism after the revolution. We will have two guests, foreign observer and a member of the syndicate. For those who have missed this interview of this edition, they can find the podcast and the video on YouTube. Thank you for listening to RTCI. Stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
This international English program.
That's really good.